Welcome back to Route 40 Rust, and this time we're back on the 1948 Pontiac. We're gonna figure out modern brakes, power brakes for it. We get the engine running like a top. We're talking real good. We gut all of that permanently temporary or temporarily permanent wiring we did in the doghouse and move some of it, like a couple gauges and stuff. So what I'm trying to say is we got this car running really great and then ripped it all out, and we're starting back at square one to figure out brakes and move forward with whatever's happening here. It's muggy and there are skeeters everywhere. If there's a skeeter on your I don't know precisely where we left off with this car, but I do know that whatever I've got to do next, I've got to move it around and move it closer to the barn so I can weld, and if it's windy, you know, and I'm MIG weld, I got to be able to just start this thing and move it fairly easy. And in order to do that, I got to fix the carburetor. It's got a Carter 2-barrel WCD, I believe. So I ordered a rebuild kit off eBay, rip this puppy off and tear it down and see if we can't get the Pontiac to just fire off a little bit easier when we need it to. The hood's latched. Who latches hoods around here? Oh, I don't have an interior. What's this deal? That does it. That'll do it. Interior's been gutted. That's new to my memory. Remember, I need a stick. That's a factory poncho option. And right off the bat, I realized that I've scavenged the inline electric fuel pump off of it. Don't know why. I still have gauges. And I've got a vacuum line plugged off. Oh, that's where I'm going to do power brakes too, Lord willing. Anyway. Oh, I've got a tube RTV under the hood. Oh! There's chickens. Let's bum rush the chickens. It would be evident that the chickens have a better cardio plan than I do. How's I doing? Carburetor, yes. Well, I got a tube of RTV in there. That's what I meant to tell you about. Shh, chicken. Hush now, chicken. All right, let's find some tools. What a cool oil bath on these engines. And a lot of the stuff I've got has an oil bath. That I can't do this one-handed. Right along. That I've kind of retrofitted to be a modern element type filter. Oil baths work phenomenal if you've got all the pieces, but a lot of times you don't have all the pieces. But they're definitely the way to go, because you know, you just use oil instead of paper to filter your air. I need a workbench. Check out that. Speaking of cardio. Oh gosh. That sounds good. You know what? This is a prime opportunity to try out Surface Shield. I'm actually in the middle of a very scientific study between fluid film and Surface Shield that we're gonna do. I'm a staunch believer in fluid film, but it's a little pricey. And this PB Blaster stuff's like $10 or under. So we got a little study going on where I'm gonna put surface shield, yeah, that's what it's called, and fluid film on some sheet metal and put salt on it and stuff. I'm gonna have spreadsheets and data and variables, whatever those are, and we're gonna see which one's better. Anyway, let's get a workbench going. Let's make this squeaking stop. Alright, surface shield is not off to a good start. Anyway, let's tear this carburetor apart. Well, I'm bringing to the party the handy tote, because it's a handy guy to have around. And I already got the fuel line off because I stole stuff. Probably got every wrench but the one I need. 3/8, 5/16. There you are. Yep. Kind of a neat carburetor. Reminds me of something that would be on a little Dodge 318 or something. I wonder if these would be a good candidate for a AMC straight 6, being a double barrel and all. I don't know. Oh, I lost my vacuum plug. It's okay. If you don't run, you can't create vacuum. Speaking of vacuum, negative pressure, which really just means it sucks. Hope you guys are doing all right. It's hard out there in this world, you know? And if you're not doing all right, make sure you take a moment to do stuff to get yourself all right. I don't know if that's going out and treating yourself to a steak dinner, or maybe if you're like me, it's staying home, treating yourself to a steak dinner. Either way, take care of yourself, because this world is getting harder and harder. Does that just pop off? Let's take this cotter back. And harder and harder and harder. Magnetic bowl, where are you? Nope. And harder. What is this? Oh, it's got the old choke tube. What size are you? I like this. Manifold operated chokes. They work pretty well, minus where they rod out of the manifold, like that one is, and like everything else I own that has that. I think we got all of its bits and pieces off. But like I was saying, you know, it's hard out there, so keep your watch your back, watch your buddy's back, watch your spouse's back, you know, give them a hug, watch your kiddo's back. You imagine? I met some of you old timers who were raised in the 40s and 50s like it's the Andy Griffith show while you're whistling carrying a cane pole. It must be a nightmare living in today's world. Yeah, watch out for our kids, man. They got their hands full this day and age. Thankful I was a child of the 80s. child of the 2020s. Well, this is a pain. I'm getting a gear wrench. Chickens are back. Handy tote. Ton in my way. Turns so easy with a wrench, but so hard with my fingers. Maybe because I got a wrench in my hand. Or I got these big old banana hands that don't fit. All right. Bah. Nope, but in all honesty, you know, I'm not gonna make an entire video rebuilding this old Betty piece by piece, because I'm gonna fumble with it, let's be honest, and that's just how it's gonna be. But I think it's worth noting a few things I would look for is stripped out screws, like where, you know, the screwdriver, wrong size screwdriver's been on the screw, or just stripped out on the threads, you know, evidence that someone's been there before, because that increases the chances of the internals being reassembled incorrectly by a lot. I've been in a lot of carburetors and just found out that they were reassembled wrong. And that, I mean, crazy stuff like upside down floats or whatever, you know, is that even possible? I don't know. But just crazy stuff like mix match jets, like a 48 and a 52 and a Motorcraft Autolite 2100. I don't know. So going into this, I'm just gonna move slow. I'm gonna make some mental notes of stripped out screws or any evidence that someone's been there before. I'm gonna drop some check balls. That's gonna happen. I'm gonna make a mess. I'm gonna lose pieces. And I'm gonna watch YouTube videos for 3 hours about where they go, and I'm gonna email, you know, Mike's carburetor parts, you know, and maybe he could shed some light and try to get this thing back together. But in the meantime, I'm probably just gonna, like, you know, fast forward the video and play cool music in the background and make it look like I'm a professional and I can rebuild Carter WCDs in my sleep when I really can't, and I'm gonna throw it on the car and it's gonna fire it up and run. I'm like, yeah, it's that simple, guys, and really I'm gonna struggle for 3 days. But so hot in here. Let's get started. Well, before I get carried away, just a quick inspection showed a lot of dirt and debris in the bowls. So far it looked like if this carb was just cleaned out really well, it would work just fine. Well, wrong rebuild kit. So we reused everything minus one gasket. Cleaned it really good. We're gonna see if this thing barks off a little bit better than before. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Order the right one, do it right. Good thing is, we're getting pretty familiar with these Carter WCDs. Yes, sir. Yeah, not that I necessarily want to, but we are. We're gonna rewire this fuel pump to this jug of gas with that line. Throw a battery in it, make it do stuff. Okay. Well, that started up a million times better than how she has been. Good enough to move it around the yard. It's got some blow by. Which either this engine's given all she's had to the service of transportation, or the rings are stuck, you know, and valves aren't seating good, which might come around the more we run it. I'm not quite ready to abandon the straight 8 quite yet. I really want to experience this car the way it was before we just rip it all out and put a hot rod small block in it. So let's let her run a little bit and see what's happening. Well, I was gonna be done, but I figure how much blow-by this had going on, maybe we could help those rings along by letting a little concoction of ATF and mystery oil and all sorts of stuff soak down in these cylinders for a night, and we'll just crank her over, blow it out. Let's see where we're at. Ain't gonna hurt nothing. This might take a quart or two. Oh. Smells like a Pontiac. All right, let's dump some juices. I don't know about where you guys live at, but the rural Midwest, Dollar Generals are like, they're like home base when you're playing hide and go seek as a kid. Okay, that's a bad example. Dollar Generals are very important establishments when you get out to the country. Something that's kind of cool is Dollar General has a little automotive section, and you could buy mystery oil there because every farmer runs it and everything he owns, and you can buy the Berryman's B12 there, and it's dirt cheap. I think Berryman's is $4.50 at Dollar General. Marvel's might be $5. I don't know. Let's we haven't even changed the oil in this car yet. So, what better time than now than to do this? And to be honest with you, you really can't overdo it. Alright, well, give her the old, yeah. That'll do it. I'm glad that's all over those 70-year-old spark plug wires that arc off everywhere. And I already opened this, so let's put it in the 66. Well, I think starting tomorrow, the plan is to rip out all of my permanently temporary or my temporarily permanent wiring that I have under the hood and move it temporarily under the dash so I can operate everything from the inside, in hopes that once we get some brakes going, we can operate it like a normal vehicle. I think I'm gonna need to order some new gauges. These Summit 2-packs, not impressed. I don't even think the water temp gauge works anymore. In the oil, of course, you get this super brittle plastic line. So we might take the time to go ahead and run copper tubing to under the dash and order some gauges and be done with that. And then just maybe make a nicer little thing for my switches under the dash too. That'll be permanently temporary. I think that's what we're going for. And then start mocking up power brakes and a new pedal assembly and stuff. And if that goes well, we'll get rid of, you know, the master cylinder that I just rebuilt. It's bolted to the frame with that crazy octopus linkage brake pedal. That's where we'll go. I don't know. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, we let all the juices soak in the cylinders of the straight 8 last night. Pulled spark plugs out today and turned it over a bunch and blew it out and everything like that. And this old Betty is running pretty darn good. I did break an old crusty spark plug wire in half, but luckily I've got a barn loft full of about 200 old ones from various projects. So I threw one of those on there, and this thing, she's running pretty good. Let me show you. I mean, there's nothing I own aside from maybe the tractor or my riding lawnmower that starts that good. That's awesome. Am I wrong? So I think I'm in the clear to go ahead and move all my gauges, all of my wiring, and all that nonsense out of here and into the dash. I won't do the world's greatest job, but I'll get it in there, because once this car just kind of evolves and, you know, we're driving it more, we'll make her nicer-ish. But that way we'll get all this nonsense that I've got, you know, all these wires and controls and the coil, and I gotta figure something out with this battery. Maybe get a different group battery that's smaller because it hits the distributor. I don't know. Maybe we'll build a battery tray where it sits perpendicular like to the engine block. That way we have more room for figuring out the brake booster. And what's gonna decide that, I think, is where the mounting bracket wants to go. And we've got some stuff. She's a bit smoky in here. That's okay. Not a whole lot of room for the bracket. Maybe above the steering column or right above the steering column, and we can always cut and weld the pedal bracket assembly to kind of hook around the column and kind of replace that spot. But I mean, these are pretty close together. That's like 2.5, 3 inches, so we can move the brake pedal over here a little bit if we want to, but let's disconnect this battery and get it out of here so we can gut this properly. Oh. Well, hey up there, guys. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and replace this plastic oil line with some copper tubing. That's a good rule of thumb for everything you got, because this plastic stuff will just melt, and before you can probably notice it, you're gonna lose oil pressure and destroy a good engine. So this is, I don't know, not very expensive. All your auto parts stores should have them over on the shelf, and it's just the right thing to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy out, run this along the block where the old factory one went, through the firewall, and leave it spooled up in there, and go ahead and get the water temp wire off and run it through there and get all that out of the way. Continue to clean up the engine bay. I'm gonna have to take a VIN tag off. I already talked to a junkyard near me who does my VIN inspections, and he said, yeah, you're fine to move it. He's like, I don't care if you put it on the glove box, you know, I'll sign off on it. So he knows that the car matches the paperwork, so that's cool. I'm gonna clean up this firewall some more. There's vacuum lines coming through here and old lines that do stuff for ventilation. I don't know. Just gonna clean it up, see what I can do. One thing I like to do is, when I'm routing one of these copper oil lines, I just throw some painting tape on the end, so when I'm luming it close to the engine and through the firewall, I'm not packing it full of crud and become an issue. Because once you got these copper lines ran right and kind of tucked in where they need to be in firewall and along the block, never got to worry about it again. No sir. They do it right the first time. I'm gonna go ahead and there's some Tech screws in this gauge panel, and there's some sheet metal on the bottom of this HVAC control thing, which probably doesn't work. All the knobs are kind of froze up and stuff, and let's be honest, this car is never gonna have heat, air, windshield wipers, all the amenities that we've learned to love. But I do need gauges, so, and one day I'll probably put nicer gauges in this car, so we'll just go ahead and zip screw it to the sheet metal. It's not going into anything, just some, you know, old parts we don't need anymore. Here's my copper. Oh gosh, she's a little short. Perfect length though. So we'll just go ahead and make the right gauge oil pressures and the left one water temp. Why not? Ooh, I got feedback string holding my glove box shut. I don't like being in here. I'm starting to remember. Memories are bad. Come here, Milwaukee. I feel like I'm starting to have a legitimate vehicle in my hands here. Moving all of my controls to the inside. Getting spoiled. I know this sounds petty when you got a car with no interior, no brakes, no fuel tank, no floor, nothing. And I'm worried about where I want my gauges. I really don't like the oil on the right, but we'll see. I really don't have a good vantage point, seeing as how I don't have a driver's seat. Well, come on. Come on. Come on. Can't see it, but my right foot is falling through the floor already. That's super duper. Actually, my heel is stuck in the rust hole. It's okay. We'll get to you, friend. We'll fix you up. Once we cut more holes in the firewall and structurally weaken it some more. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. 40 years old and I've been working all day. And I'm stuck in a car with no seats. Yep. Let's go ahead and tamper with a VIN. Ooh. The VIN just fell off. Oh, there's another VIN behind it. It's stolen. No, I'm just joking. Ha! Got you good. Ha 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 ha! Got you guys good. Got it. Here's the brake pedal assembly that I'm going to use. So having a wider pedal means I can get it further away from the accelerator, or I can hack all this off and weld the original pedal bracket and stuff so it looks better. But really all we need is to find a place on the Firewall for these 4 holes, and no matter where these land, however we want it in the interior, these are for the brake booster that'll go through there. So really just crawl under there, find a spot that this looks okay, decide if we want to cut this pedal off for the time being, and then once all that's figured out, this is a pain, here we go, find a way back to the dash to mount this or make a bracket, so that way when you're hitting the brakes, the whole Firewall doesn't flex. Sometimes you see when people build a hot rod or something and they just don't get a couple points of contact, you'll hit the brake and you'll feel the whole tub moving around, which is alright. We can tie it into something. Let's check it out. Well, I found a spot that I really liked for this bracket, and I might, you know what, might be able to do it one-handed. Nope. Nope. Kind of thereabouts. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and, just because this bracket where the brake light switch is almost touching the column, and if I want the pedal closer, I can cut this bracket and do whatever I want with it. But I'm afraid that, I'll show you what I'm afraid of. I'm gonna drill 1 hole and then get the brake booster and master out here, because it's gonna put it, I don't know, the bottom hole here-ish. So I just want to make sure the whole unit occupies this negative space, doesn't hit the hood or interfere with shifter linkage, and you know, we have good access to brake lines. And so let's drill a hole and see what we got. One, see what we got. It's a lot lower than I thought. It's gonna put everything right about there. Which is kind of good, I guess. Let's see what if that transmission linkage comes up or down. And that'll let me know if it's going to work or not. Down. Right. So right now it's a couple inches from the starter solenoid. Neutral's all the way up. I think we're gonna be okay. I don't see a reason why it can't go there. It might be better if it came up an inch, but oof. It's going to be close with that transmission linkage, and obviously we're not going to have this proportioning valve because we're not going to go with front discs at the moment. Yeah, let's drill it up an inch and see if we can't make that work. That'll put it about there. Eyeballing it. Clears the linkage a lot better. Ooh. Swapping a battery is going to be difficult. How am I going to do that? Do you put the battery in the car under the floor? I don't... No, we can squeeze a battery in there, I think. It's just not going to be fun to change. I don't know. Going lower is going to be worse. We really can't go up here. I think we're just going to have to drill those 4 holes and mount it. Circle back. Because I think once that brake booster's up against the... What are we doing now? Coil wire. I think once the booster's up against the firewall, we could get a battery in here. Yeah. Sure, why not? Well, I think, yeah, we'll just keep moving with that. Well, that's probably it for this episode of Route 40 Rust, and we made progress to go backwards. Yeah, that makes sense. On the 48 Pontiac Streamliner Deluxe Silver Streak 8. It's a mouthful. Yeah, I don't know. I'll get these brakes mounted up in a night or two and finish running some wiring, and then we'll circle back and see where we're at. Thanks for watching, guys. If you don't already, please subscribe, like the video, share it to people. Yeah, appreciate y'all.